Oh, man. Fuji did it again. What's up, Internet? I'm George Edward, a photography YouTuber here on YouTube. And if you've followed me for any period of time, or if you've seen any of my videos, you'll know that the Fuji GFX 50R is very near and dear to my heart. Now, this camera to me is synonymous with what I would call my photographic fingerprint. Every photo that I've created that is good, in my opinion, came from this guy. I've taken and used a lot of other cameras, but this is the camera that photography really started to kind of make sense to me with. And it's a camera that I've had going on like 6 years now. It's my tried and true, it's my everything, it's my favorite. And when I'm looking to actually make good photos or photos that I just like and would want to print someday, this is the camera that I bring with me. Now, Fuji went ahead and dialed it up a little bit. Just last week, they dropped the Fuji GFX 100 RF. Now, if you're into the photography YouTube space or sphere in any way, shape, or form, you've undoubtedly been inundated with content around this camera. It comes in at a whopping $5,000 USD. It has a fixed 35mm, which full frame equivalent is 28mm. It's a good focal length for it. I, for one, prefer 35mm, but the camera wasn't built for me. This camera is going to step Fuji more into that like premium space. It's a Leica Q2 equivalent. It's going to be for the people that want this premium yet simple ergonomic aesthetic camera, and it hits all those things right on the head. It's a beautiful camera body. It looks like it's going to be a great lens. The images coming out of it look fantastic, and at the end of the day, you're backed by Fuji's color science, which, as we'll talk about in a second here, is reliable and great and good and all of those good things. Now look, I could talk about that camera more and more, but I don't think it'd be fair seeing as I don't have it and I haven't used it. But for today's video, right, we don't want to talk about the new, we want to talk about the old. So this camera here is really where we're going to spend the majority of our time. So in order to give this video a little bit of structure, there's a few things I want to talk about. One, I want to talk about the camera body itself. Next, and this is something that I've talked about ad nauseum on this channel before, but is the ability to adapt vintage lenses. And then last but not least is Fuji's color science. So this is going to get a little redundant when we think about Fuji in general, because I think their color science is so good. And if anything, it's only been improved over the years. But there's a few things we can talk about. The thing that makes Fuji cameras really good is they blend modern convenience with the tacticality of older cameras. Because you didn't have digital screens, everything was dials and buttons. And so the 50Rs were where some of that stuff started to come to life. And they've doubled down on that. More of their cameras have more and more dials and wheels. So this allows me as a photographer to set my ISO triangle extremely easily. On the front of the camera, I obviously have the older lens, which allows me to set the aperture and then focus manually. Up top, we have this scroll wheel here. So this is what is going to allow us to set our ISO, which I'm normally going as low as I can and trying to set it and forget it. And then we have our shutter speed. So unless I'm messing with nighttime photography or something where I need to let a little bit more light in and slow things down, or I'm trying to get intentional blur, I mainly always leave this at 125 and I set it and forget it. So for someone like me, I'm using a digital camera, but the only thing I'm really walking onto the scene and adjusting is my composition, my focus, and my aperture. And its auto white balance does an excellent job. If anything, it leans a little bit warm, which I tend to like. So I'm happy with the image results. The tacticality there is what I think Fuji has continued to double down on. It's showing that they are making an investment in the photographer's experience, and I think that's why this camera is so good. So next up, we have the ability to attach vintage lenses. So I've made many a video about this little lens right here. This is a Contax 45mm, and I also have a Contax 28mm. These things are both really nice lenses. They're cheaper than a GFX lens, go figure. And they allow me to start to kind of create more of a unique look and feel with the images as I'm going out and creating them. And I think that's where some of the fixed lens cameras like the Q2, the X100 series, or in this case, the 100 RF really starts to lose me, is because though they're beautiful cameras and they're highly capable, it doesn't have the adjustability that I think I need to be comfortable. And I know for a fact I would have never tried this lens if it wasn't adaptable to this camera, because why would I have? I wouldn't have bought a Contax film camera in order to just try this lens. That seems a bit egregious. But instead I have a camera that I could slap loads of different lenses onto, and it allows me to invest significantly less time and money into something but still get the same results. A lot of cameras do have the ability to adapt vintage glass. This isn't unique to this camera necessarily, but I've just noticed that the adaptation options for this camera are pretty wide and vast, and you could get loads of different adapters for loads of different lenses. And so it just really opens up your toolkit pretty wide. Okay, So last but not least, and this one's the most fun, is color science. I think that's one of the first things I noticed when I switched to this camera. I was obsessed with the idea of attaining the medium format look. I just was something that I knew I wanted to go out and get. I was watching YouTubers like Negative Feedback back in the day, or Willem, Corey Wolfenberger. All of these guys were using like Mamiya RB67s or Mamiya 7.2s. Like they were using cameras that had such a unique and distinguished look to it. And I really found myself obsessed with attaining that medium format look. And what that means to me, and I don't really know if this makes sense, I'll just kind of go with it, is this like overall creaminess to the images that you're creating. Colors and the scenes just kind of like blend into each other in a really, really nice and aesthetically pleasing way. It doesn't feel digitally sharp. Like the X100F that I have just feels digitally sharp, and it's really hard to soften it up. But because there's so much information present on this sensor, I feel like you get loads of creaminess available to you. And then what it does with the colors. So I really find that there's a few things I'm looking to do in my images right away. I'm looking to make my blues a little bit more teal. I'm looking to add magenta to the image overall. And so this camera, I feel like once you start to add those colors to it, and it only takes sliding the sliders a little bit, the colors really start to come to life. And all of this is going to come back to the idea of your photographic identity. I brought that up a few times now because I think that's really what's going to guide your purchasing process the most. What you're looking for in a camera and what I'm looking for in a camera might be two completely different things. But I'd wager to guess that if you're watching this video, that there's something that's compelling you about this camera. Currently on eBay, these camera prices will range. The Fuji 50R is hovering around $2,000, $2,500. When I bought this 6 years ago, I paid $2,700 for it. And now it's still kind of around the same price, which is crazy to me. That type of money on a 7-year-old camera, I get that that's extremely hard to swallow, especially considering that you'll still have to purchase lenses. But as I've said before, if you have the money to spend, I couldn't recommend this camera enough. The 50S seems to be a cheaper alternative, and it's the same camera. It's just in a DSLR style body, but they both are extremely capable, extremely powerful cameras. Both come with the same adaptation options, and it'll really kind of open up the possibilities as you think about stepping into the realm of medium format. Look, there's no right or wrong answers to the cameras you're gonna buy. If you're like me, annually, you'll look at and scour new cameras and the ones you can buy. But if you are able to find the camera that's right for you, I promise you it'll curb a lot of that. I've had this camera forever. Every time I go to look at new cameras, I ask myself, is it better than the 50R? And the answer oftentimes is no, or just marginally. So it's allowed me to just continue with this camera and not have to think about which camera I'm going to use, because if I'm going out and taking photos, I'd be damned if it's not this one. But look, just to wrap this up here, if you made it this far, I appreciate it more than you know. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully I helped you narrow down your search. Or at the very least, if you were on the fence, maybe it's pushed you over the edge and now you know that this is the camera for you. Because I promise you, if you have it, you won't regret it. So thank you. And as always, if you liked it, like it, subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.